Okay, I'll call to order the Tuesday, August 28th, 2018 regular school board meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Estheimer.
Present.
Mr. Freitas.
Here.
Mr. Green.
Here.
Mr. Koopser.
Here.
Ms. Massa.
Present.
Dr. Pomponio.
Here.
Mr. Craig.
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Southgate's mission statement is Learning for Life. The vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, the best choice for students and parents. Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Pomponio, supported by Mr. Koopser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda. Are there any citizens who would like to talk on action items? I don't see any, so I'll say no. Presentations, we do not have any presentations tonight, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, no student government reps. Still no citizens to talk. And we're on to the consent agenda, which consists of the revised minutes from July 24th, 2018 regular board meeting, work session minutes from July 24th, 2018, work session minutes from August 14th, 2018, minutes from the regular board meeting of August 14th, 2018, and the HR update. Is there any comments on the consent agenda? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio.
Second.
Supported by Mr. Koopser. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the consent is approved. Brings us to action item number 1, district policies. Who's presenting this one tonight?
So you're being asked to approve the adoption of Lusk-Albertson policies. These have been reviewed by the policy committee and are being recommended for adoption.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for staff on action item number 1? Okay. I'll entertain a motion then.
Make a motion to approve the Lusk-Albertson policies as presented by the Board of Education Policy Committee.
Is there support? Support. Supported by Mr. Green. Any discussion on the item? Okay.
Thanks for your hard work on that, Dr. Pomponio and Mr. Green. I know you guys have been at a lot of these meetings along with our superintendent. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, any other further discussion?
Yes, it's my understanding with the modification of the, if there is to be a future modification, it can't be made now, it'd be made in a future meeting to policies.
Absolutely. As things go into effect as far as legislation and things, then Lusk-Albertson will present us with a suggested policy, and then the policy committee would get together and bring the recommendation to the full board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Then action item number 2, pizza bid.
So based on the recommendation of our new part-time food service director and a new plan to provide pizza for lunches with cost savings and changes in the usage of an external company, an informal RFP process for pizza bids for 2018-19 was completed earlier this month. The RFP was for providing pizzas to 5 schools once a week. Pizzas will be made in-house daily for Anderson, Davidson, and Asher. The RFP requested pricing for cheese pizzas as well as pepperoni pizzas. The new food service director also required a copy of the bidder's most recent health department inspection report, and which is attached. Never mind. Their most recent health department inspection report. The low bidder was Cottage and Pizza with a bid price of $6 for cheese pizza and $6.25 for pepperoni pizza. These prices are 25 to 50 cents per pizza lower than the other bid received. On August 3rd, the administration provided the company that was originally contracted to provide pizzas for the 2018-19 school year with a 30-day notice of termination per the terms of the current pizza contract, which did include a request for reconsideration of their proposed price per pizza. So with the, you have the results of the RFP. There were two companies, and Cottage Inn was the lower bidder, and it does provide a cost savings to the district in addition to making the pizzas that are served in the buildings daily will be made in the buildings. So the recommendation is to award the pizza bid contract for 2018-19 to Cottage Inn.
Are there any questions for staff?
I think I know
Dr.
the,
Pomponio.
thank you. I think I know the answer, but this is white pizza, white bread pizza?
That's
not-
correct.
okay.
That's correct. We did tell them we did have the wheat exemption, so yes, it is white.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. President.
Mr. Green?
Hey, Teresa, how you doing?
Hey.
Just curious for my own, so I understand this, which included a request for reconsideration of the proposed price per pizza. I might assume that meant that we gave Domino's a chance to lower their price and they just didn't, or?
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. Mr. Cooper?
I was just curious, you use the term informal RFP process, what exactly is the difference between informal and
We
formal RFP?
didn't have to follow all of the formal procedures as such as putting a notice in the newspaper
Public notice.
because with only having the 5 schools, the ones that are served once a week, it lowered the overall cost to less than $100,000. So there's a interim process that we can follow. That wasn't why we did this, this way, but, his practice in other districts is to prepare the pizzas in-house
No, that wasn't,
for
I
the
was just kind of
secondary,
curious
right?
about the process of
So that was the.
notification
Yeah.
to different potential
Right,
vendors.
so-
And not having to do it a public forum.
Right.
But it was, normally there's a notification to various vendors, especially ones that are on the short list, if you will, or
And
at least
he-
local ones. I
and
was just curious what that
He was
process looked like.
provided with that,
Okay,
and these were the 2 responses.
thank you.
I have a question. So with an informal process, how many people were sent the request for proposal?
The food service director took care of that. I would have to verify with him exactly how many he sent out, but the list from the last time was sent to him.
So we don't know how many people he sent it to?
No, I don't.
Okay. And how long did they have to put the bid in?
They had, one week.
1 week? And why are we choosing to only do the 5 schools that only have it once a week?
It's been his experience that is more cost-effective to, we have the means to prepare the pizzas in-house at the secondary levels, and it is more cost-effective. It will also give him the opportunity to provide more choices to the students. He can provide more, order the product to provide more toppings, like a veggie pizza, a Hawaiian pizza, as long as it meets everything that's within the Healthy Hunger Free Child's Act.
Do you know what the cost is to prepare the pizzas in-house?
I don't have the final cost, no.
Okay.
But
So what prompted us to get a new bid or quote? Because I was opposed the first time through to redoing our contract with Domino's and paying an increased price without going through a bid process, which we did, and then we ended up here. So what happened? What happened between?
when the new food service director started, it was one of the things that he looked at, and he felt that the price, even given the situation with minimum wage, that the increase was was too high. Also comparing it to other Domino franchises that he works with. And so his recommendation regarding price and quality was to do an informal bid process to try and get some other vendors.
Okay. All right.
Mr. President,
Ms. Mazel.
just you asked half of the question I was gonna. I do remember when we went back over when the original RFP didn't include the difference between the wheat and the white. And then we had talked about maybe sending that back out to see if it would be more cost effective since we didn't have to follow that. But Jason had just asked, do we know, doing the pizzas in-house, I like that idea. I like that there's more variety and things like that. But have we made a guesstimate on the cost as our president asked with our utilities, or stress or strain on employee numbers and hours? If, like, is there going to be additional persons needed because now we have people who are doing the process of making special order items?
Probably not. Our plan is not to increase staff. In fact, in meeting with them over the past few months, because of the financial situation, they have brought up to us that there are things that they could do in-house rather than buying the packaged.
So this is something
things.
they would have known ahead of time and said, oh yeah, we can do that,
Yes.
rather than
We did
later
meet,
on. Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
I can tell you that I asked about the cost of making the pizzas in-house, and it's actually pretty close to the Cottage Inn price. I was a little surprised. The difference is that we'll be able to offer meat lovers and a Hawaiian pizza and some other choices that he said are very popular in the other two districts. So.
Okay. Mr. Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. President. Do you know if our new food service director was in the other districts that he works with? Is he also doing an RFP, maybe hoping for economies or making a larger contract as it relates to this vendor supplying? I'm asking, is Cottage Inn going to be supplying for all three of his districts? And was that part of the consideration when the pricing was being done, and were they all made aware of that, if that in fact happened or not? Or was this strictly for Southgate?
No, they also provide pizzas for,
I think Lincoln
Just
Park
Lincoln Park?
uses-
Is it
Lincoln
just-
Park uses Domino's, and Wyandotte
oh,
uses
okay.
Cottage Inn.
Right.
So this RFP process was unique just to Southgate.
Thank you, that answered my question.
Any other questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on the item.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the one-year contract of the pizza bid with the Cottage Inn Pizza for the 2018 through 2019 school year.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Cooper, supported by Dr. Pomponio. Is there any discussion on the item? No? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. And action item number 3, the updated emergency operations plan.
So you're being asked to approve the Southgate Schools Emergency Operations Plan. This document was originally presented and approved by the board on August 15th of 2017 after years of hard work from the District Crisis Response Committee. This year, the Michigan State Police released updated guidelines that included hazardous analyst summary, specific response actions, and hazardous specific procedures. The committee that worked this year also made some other changes that include updated emergency contact rosters, updated school maps to include a compass rose, an outside incident command location, and training exercise monthly mandatory topics list for administration. Recently, in comparing the competitive school safety grant that was released on August 1st, we discovered that we also had to add law enforcement command post, so not just the outside, but also the inside, and an emergency utility shut-off procedures. So the document is now 180 pages. The current document is uploaded in your Google folder, and I did provide you with a summary of the changes. I have to tell you that I sort of see this as a living, breathing document. Today we started the intruder training at Anderson, and there's some great suggestions that were mentioned that probably need to be incorporated into this as we move forward and think about it. It is something that we constantly want to not put on a shelf, but continue to talk about scenarios and what makes sense and what if. And we have already started some of those things, and it's one of those catch-22s. Like, I can't really tell you those things because we don't want the public to know all of the specifics around it. So I would be glad to answer any individual questions you have, but you did get the summary of the changes. So.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for staff?
I just
Dr. Pomponio.
comment. Being a part of that group for years, when we first opened that up to take a look at it, it was so antiquated, and we hadn't looked at that for years. So with all the work put into it and all the new changes and updates, it's a big, hats off to the people that worked on it, and including the former public safety director. We had everyone involved, so it was, there's a lot of moving pieces. So yeah, it's a breathing document. We can always update and change. Thank you.
Thank you. Neil, sorry.
When you said it's a living, breathing document, did you mean like we're gonna look at it quarterly, yearly, every half year?
So for sure, it would come to the board, I think, on a minimum of an annual basis.
Okay.
So for example, if we wanted to use a code word in the building to represent something, and it made a lot of sense, then we would need to put that in the plan and sort of in the procedures that we're doing with staff. But I think formally it probably should be updated once a year. What happened in the past, and with events that have happened across the nation, when we've been trained since we were 5 years old, when we hear a fire alarm, we stand up and we leave the building. We now have to be very cognizant that that is not our first gut reaction, that we need to hear a backup. We need to ensure that it is truly a drill or a fire before we evacuate the building. In the last 50 years, only one student has died in a school fire, when we have, unfortunately, hundreds that have died in school shootings. So it really causes us to rethink some of the procedures that we frankly have grown up doing. And even today, even though we have this update from the Michigan State Police, the things that were said today by Compliance One even made a little bit more sense as another layer to think about. So even if you get the code on the intercom and you get the fire alarm, you still should stop at the door and look and see if you see anything suspicious. And if you do, you reverse evacuation. So it's just being more aware, being more conscious, and the training that all staff will be getting over the next 2 days is essential, but it's essential that we don't put this on a shelf, that we continue to talk about it. And that's one of the reasons that we added the monthly mandated topics, so that the administrators will be expected to put that on either professional development, they'll be at a meeting or in an email to just remind staff of procedures. So.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion on the item.
Make a motion to approve the 2018 updated Southgate Schools Emergency Operations Plan as presented.
I support. We have a motion supported by Mr. Estheimer. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Takes us to the end of the action agenda. I see no employee representatives. Do we have any information or announcements? Oh, Mr. Green beat you to it. But
Mr. President, thank you. I just like to, I hope everybody enjoyed their summer. Welcome the teachers back tomorrow, the students back next week. Fall sports, please support our fall sports, which are in full swing. I'm sure it's on the calendar, but I'm not sure of all of the sports activities. I can say that our varsity football game, due to the holiday weekend, is on Thursday this week at 7 p.m. against Lincoln Park, so we'd appreciate your support of all our athletes, all of our activities, clubs, teachers, students, and welcome back for a safe and happy school year. Thank you, Mr. President.
thank you. Dr. Pomponio.
Welcome back, teachers and students and staff and administrators. Freshman orientation is Thursday at the high school at 9 a.m. The freshmen have to meet with their link crew leader. They should have been contacted by the link crew leader at this point. If not, you may want to contact someone at the high school or counseling office. But good luck, new freshmen. And also, open house at Davidson is September 6th. There is a parent PTO interest meeting prior to the open house start between 5 and 6 p.m. And then the open house is 6 to 7. And then 7 to 8, they're going to have a meeting for the Washington trip. So look out for that, September 6th for Davidson open house. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else with information and announcements?
I missed one.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to PTO President Stephanie Morin from Grogan. I forgot to say that.
Oh, okay. Any other information announcements or birthday wishes? Nope. Okay. Seeing none, we're on to the next item. I need somebody to make a motion to go into a closed session.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we adjourn into a closed session.
Okay, I have a motion to go into close. Is there support?
For contract negotiations.
Contract negotiations, thank you.
Support.
Supported by Jason Gibson. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are into a closed session. We will adjourn after that. We will not be back for the viewing audience. Thank you.